So for everyone who is on the call, if you're listening in English, to click on the English and mute original audio. And then if you're listening in Spanish, to click on Spanish and mute original audio. And today we have a new interpreter. Martin is going to be doing the interpretation. So Sakhya-rati and I are going to have to try and speak a little slower than normal because I think this is Martin's first time doing the simultaneous translation. Okay, let's see. I'm going to pin you, Sakhya-rati, me and the put us together. Okay, so we're going to get started. And I want to welcome Sakhya-rati for being brave and bold and coming to share her story with us. Interestingly enough, a number of devotees have been very afraid to come on to do
I understand.
this. So how are you feeling about it, Sakhya-rati?
Well, I didn't think about it until half an hour ago when I started being nervous. And still I am nervous, but I'm here.
Yes.
It's a nice opportunity for me, mainly.
I think getting nervous before any kind of presentation is highly normal.
Yeah.
And I think pretty much about 99% of us experience that. So I'm going to read your bio, and then I'll start. We can have a dialogue after that. So I want to welcome all our participants. We're doing interviews today. And most of you, I think, have been following the series. So I'm not going to go into much depth about the concept behind it. We are using the hero's journey as a template for looking at the Sadhaka journey, relating the Sadhaka's journey to some of the aspects of the hero journey, especially the beauty and the messiness, but the messiness being some of the trials and tribulations that we go through in our journey that sometimes we don't, we're not able to see as being a good part of the journey. We feel sometimes that this is a really negative aspect of our journey, and we're trying to change that paradigm that a lot of devotees have, that maybe God's punishing me, or this is something that shouldn't be happening. So here's Sakhya-rati's bio. Sakhya-rati Devi dasi. Devi is part of her name. Guru Maharaj explained it as the goddess of Sakhya-rati, Radharani in the form of Subal. So that's very beautiful that you have that name. And she was born in Japan. What year were you born, Sakhya-rati?
When?
What year?
86.
Yeah. 1986. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we can figure out your age from that.
35, almost.
And at the age of 5, she moved to Italy. And then at the age of 19, she booked a one-way ticket to London. And since then, she's been traveling. So quite an independent spirit. At the age of 24, she walked the Santiago de Compostela pilgrimage in Spain. Soon afterward, she felt a calling to go to India. And her plan was to go to Auroville, Pondicherry, but instead she ended up staying at a temple in Vrindavan for about 3 years. So that is where she started her bhakti journey. And when the leader of the sanga she belonged to was revealed to be an abusive imposter, she escaped from the temple and went to an ashram at Radhakund. Soon after, she was offered a place to stay with a friend in Bulgaria. And it was later on in Bulgaria that she first heard of Swami Tripurari and began having a different approach to bhakti. She now lives with her husband, Shamananda Das, in Sweden, which is Shamananda's home country. There, Sakhya-rati Devi is starting her own business as an online yoga teacher with the goal of bringing more guests to Madhavan. And she's producing a podcast where she interviews spiritual practitioners about putting theory into practice. So you've been doing the interviewing part, right? And
Yes.
now you get to experience the interviewee side of it. So you've had quite a diverse, multicultural background, I would say.
I do.
Yeah. So I'm curious if you see how that may have contributed to your ending up on a spiritual path, or just how you see that.
Yeah, this for sure, because like my dad, I mean, he's not practicing, but I was born in a Shinto family. So my grandparents, they had a temple room in their home, and they were offering food every day. And of course, they were not Radha and Krishna, but the concept was there. And my mom also, at the beginning, she was Christian, I think, but now she's Buddhist. She has gotten initiation from the Dalai Lama. And after being with my dad, my mom had two other kids, my other brothers, who has a Muslim dad. So we are
just really multicultural. And
yeah. And the beautiful thing is that we all respect each other. No one ever tried to convert anyone. We are very open. So God was always there in some form in my life.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And when you were younger, growing up, were there any moments that you can look back on and say really showed you or gave you hints that you were destined for a different kind of life?
Yeah, well, I'm half Japanese and half Italian. And when I moved to Italy, I moved with my dad and with my two elder brothers in a very, very small town. I don't know if they have more than 200 people even there. So very
really
recluse. Yes, very, very small. And like in Japan, I was never Japanese because they could see I'm not Japanese. But also in Italy, I was never Italian because they could see I'm foreigner, kind of. And somehow, like then in the 90s, people didn't really make a difference between China and Japan. They thought it's practically the same, which is definitely not. So I always felt different from everyone. And also my dad was very strict. I was not so happy in my childhood. So I always thought, oh, when I grew up, I'm gonna just leave. And actually I did it. And yeah, so.
Are you still in touch with your parents at this point? Have you kept?
Not with my dad, but with my mom, because at the age of 15, I moved from my dad to my mom, because in Italy, at the age of 14, you can legally choose with which parent you want to stay. So it took me 1 year to find the courage to tell to my dad that I want to go to my mom. And since then, he doesn't talk to me. I tried to contact, but he is very Japanese. And with my mom at the beginning was actually terrible. Like we were just fighting all the time. But now we have a very good relationship, and I'm very happy about this relationship. Yeah.
Very nice. So yeah, I was just, thinking about, well, at age 24, you went on a pilgrimage in Spain. What prompted that to, what were you hoping to find on that?
I'm not really sure, but at that time of my life, I didn't have a partner, and I was living by myself, and I had a great job with a good salary, and I was working seasonally, so I had like 3 to 4 months free every year, paid, so that I could travel and do things. And I had a very, very good friend, and she's also kind of spiritual, and we just thought to go there, and we went. Yeah.
What was that like for you? What happened on that trip?
This was really, really, really intense, and like in a positive way, because like we just started, like we went off of the airplane, and I think we took a taxi to an Airbnb or something, and then the day after we start walking, and it was raining a lot, but we just didn't give up, and we were walking, like, now I don't remember how many kilometers, but we walked a lot for 10 days, every day waking up, start walking. And this path is made for pilgrimage, so every few kilometers you find a small kind of Airbnb or something, and everyone it was just so helpful and nice and kind. It was like everyone was happy just that we were walking that path, and I saw this in others, like how happy they were. And an interesting thing, it was that the first 4 or 5 days it was raining a lot, and somehow some journalists shoot us, so we got up on the newspaper, and we were not reading Spanish newspapers, but someone found us and said, "Oh, you too are the one on the newspaper." I say, "I don't think so." And then they show us the newspaper, and we were there walking in the rain, like with the hoodie like this.
Oh, do you have that picture?
Actually, no, but and I'm sorry, but yeah, I have many other pictures and a very nice memory. And that really kind of opened a lot my mind and the way to see people, because also, like, in my teenage time, I took a lot of drugs, and I was in very bad company, and but somehow from inside I was always kind of searching for some meaning in life, something, and that's really opened a big part of my heart in order to welcome something bigger than what was in my life.
That was your first real experience with spiritual people on a spiritual journey, like you were also, but you had, you were just really discovering that at this point, it sounds like. So then afterwards, you had you got the call to go to India, an invitation. How did that happen?
That was also very interesting. Like afterwards, my mom told me that when she was pregnant of me, during her meditation, because she was also teaching yoga, all the time, like Auroville and what is the name of Aurobindo. They were always coming into her meditations, but I figured it out after. So that was interesting. And somehow I always feel attracted to India. I never had anything in relation with India, or I never, at least in this life. And one day I saw on the newspaper in the town where I was living that an old friend of mine that I didn't see since years was serving food on the street in India. And then I thought, wow, that's amazing, because I always wanted to do some charity or work or this, and I want to go to India. This is just perfect. I have to contact him. But I didn't see him since years. So I thought, I don't really know who to ask, but I will figure it out. And then the weekend of that week, I went to a concert and he was there. And I thought, oh gosh, Adrian, how are you doing?
This couldn't possibly be by chance.
So I immediately approached him and we start talking, and I said, can you just help me going to India or doing some charity? I want to go to India. And he say, yes, of course. And he is a devotee, but I had no idea at that time. So I thought, I want to start from the north and traveling down and end up to Pondicherry, where there is this Orville village. And he said, with who you going? And then I say, I'm going by myself, because I like to make travels by myself, because people approach me in a different way. Like I feel more like, if you travel in a couple or with more people, usually the locals, they don't really approach you. But if you're alone, they come and they think you need help. Oh, she's lonely, or she's alone. Oh, I have to help her. That. So I say, I'm going by myself. And he say, but India may be better if you go first in a place I know is safe. And then from there you can move and, you get to know India and this and that. And that place was Vrindavan. So
wow, you started off at the holiest of places.
Yeah. So I think not even a week after I talked to him, I bought my ticket. And then the way to go there was kind of uncomfortable. I had many, my car broke and I had to spend so much money to repair it. Then I was wearing contact lenses, and on the way there, in the check-in, the lady asked me if I have any check-in luggage, and I say no, I don't, but it was included in the ticket. So she said, why don't you give me your handbag so you travel more light? And I thought, oh yeah, sure. But yes, I didn't think about some practical things I had inside. And one of those was my glasses. So very soon after, I kind of, how you say? When you do like this, rubbed my eye. Yeah. And my contact lens fell. So I did 36-hour travel with only one contact lens. And to read the screen, I was going around like this. It was really uncomfortable. And when I arrived there, it was super hot. And I couldn't find the taxi driver at the beginning. Then I found it. And then this man was, I don't know, all the time chewing these things they chew, this palm with spices and tobacco and whatever. And then while driving, he was opening the door and going very much down with almost half of his body to spit outside the door, the the door, and for many seconds he was just not looking in front of the car, and he stopped in some alcohol shop and he bought I don't know how many bottles of alcohol, like liquor, and I was like, am I really doing this by myself? Like, it's not so safe, you know? And then at the entrance of Vrindavan, I don't know if some of you might know, there is the main, I mean, now there is the highway, but back then there was the main road. Then if you go to the right, you go to Radhakund. If you go to the left, you go to Vrindavan, kind of like 5-10 kilometers. And he stopped there and he said, yeah, we are in Vrindavan. If you want to get to the temple, you have to give me, he says, some numbers of rupees. And I just say, well, I don't have any money. The temple will pay you, so you better get me there. And then and then he drove me there. But you know, I was just thinking, maybe all this I shouldn't have done that. You know, wow. It's just so hard. And then I arrived to the temple, but then the things changed. Like everything was suddenly super beautiful, and I liked very much, like as I mentioned before, my grandparents, they had the temple room, they were offering food, and then I saw those people are also doing these things. This is amazing. I'm at home, you know, and they have temples, and everyone is bowing down to others, and you know, Japanese, they all the time doing that. And I said, this is just amazing. Those people are beautiful, and everyone is so kind. I mean, you know, devotees, how they can be. They're just wonderful people. So then after that, I thought, okay, I'm in the right place.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
What temple did you end up going to? Is that the
Munger Mandir?
Where?
In Vrindavan, Munger Mandir is called.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, better, probably.
And it's a Gaudiya Vaishnava temple?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, like I didn't have any background of devotional life in bhakti. So, you know, for me, it was whatever they say, you know. But yeah, he still wore orange, but his wife and his family were there, and many things, like preaching to not study philosophy because we are doing everything with love, with this, with that, like, so kind of Gaudiya.
Kind of Gaudiya, but but philosophically not
exactly.
accurate. Wasn't an accurate presentation. Yeah. So, and was that the temple that your friend had told you to go to? Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the one he was involved in.
Yeah, actually he was there for a couple of days. Yeah, he was already there for a couple of days, but then he went back to Europe with his wife. I think his wife was also there, yeah.
So there were parts of it that were very attractive to you, some of the beautiful ritual, spiritual practices, and so it was inviting. Somehow Krishna got you to be in Vrindavan.
Yes.
But then it sounds like then there was some messiness that happened. And how long were you in that temple and what happened?
Well, from the first time I went to the last time were 3 years, but I went back to Italy and to work other 2 times, because the first time I stayed there, I don't remember, maybe a couple of months.
Okay.
But and then I decided I want to live in India, but I still had my summer job So I went there, and then I say this will be my last season. I'm gonna work, and then I went to India, and then one more time I went to Switzerland to work a couple of months, and then back to India, and I stayed there. And somehow, like I grew up also the place where I was living in South Tyrol. It's just so beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful places on earth for sure. And I had a great job, a nice flat, car, a beautiful dog, but I was never totally happy. There was always something missing. And also I had many friends that most of them are still friends now, but still there was something missing. And when I went to India, I just thought like, wow, like there is much, much more than just a nice material life, and there is a purpose, and there is a God, and that is Krishna. Actually, at the beginning, I loved everything, but I thought Krishna is a little weird, so I'm gonna wait for that. I'm not sure about it.
In what way was Krishna a little weird for you?
Like the fact that he was, first of all, every painting I saw of him, I thought it was a female figure. And some stories, like, to me, they were just not making much sense, like he's stealing butter here and there, like just behaving like a normal person. It was just make not much sense to me, but afterwards I learned who Krishna is. And also it said, like in the temple we were the guru there was just preaching about Radha here, we don't care about Krishna. And then I was fine with it. Yeah, I like Radha. She looks more normal. So yeah, so I was very, very, very fanatic at the beginning. Like, I thought, I got the key, the life, and all the rest, my past life, like, that's nothing. I'm gonna move to India saying bye to everyone. I closed all my social media at that time, didn't have any. I would just stay in the temple. I was chanting so much, like too fanatic, obviously. And I was just into that. I was happy. But what I discovered afterwards, what I learned after, is that I was actually attached to my previous guru as a father figure, because I was really looking to that. I was missing that. And he was always calling me like my daughter and treating me very nice, like extremely nice. I was kind of privileged, but not privileged, but very close to him. And I was just seeking for that fatherly love, not really looking what was happening around. So I was very, very close to him. I could see many things he was not doing right, but I always thought, he's a guru, he can do everything. He can do this, he can do that, and you cannot question what he does. Until he gave me some very, very hard tasks, like service, let's say. And a friend of mine that was in Europe, and she realized what I was doing. She said, you shouldn't do that. You should absolutely not do that. That's not service to Krishna or Radha. That's just slavery. And then I said, but no, I'm doing for Gurudev. Maybe you can't understand this and that. And then she said, no, you should not do that. And then she opened up and she told me what he did to her. And he sexually abused her. more than one time. And I was like, what? Like
wow.
very confused, but I totally 100% trust her. Like she's not just a known person, she's a very close friend, and I know she's sincere.
Yeah.
So at the beginning I was like, what should I do? I left everything I have, like everything I had at that time, it was in that temple.
Wow.
And he actually at that time also told me to close my contacts with my family, with my mom and everything, you know. So he kind of
Was grooming you.
yes, exactly. So I literally had nothing, but so I went in front of the altar at the temple, and I just asked, how can you, to the deities, Radha and Krishna, I asked them, how can you allow this to happen in your home? Like, that's not possible. So, but at the beginning I thought, I will stay here anyway, but I will only go to his classes, and I will withdraw from services and this and that. But I couldn't, obviously. I went there to a class, and I just heard all his words and voices with another meaning totally. It was just like, oh my God, how could I be so blind?
Yeah.
So I just went to my room, and I didn't say anything to anyone. And I called a taxi to come and pick me up at 4 a.m. And I start packing everything. And I wrote, because I also didn't know many sannyasi or other gurus. I was very much into that world, that place.
Yeah.
And but I had I thought it was, I mean, I trusted him at that time, a brahmachari from Switzerland and a guru from Sweden. So for me, those two were kind of very senior that I can trust and write to. And the one from Sweden, he say, oh, run out from there, go away and tell to everyone you see in your, what is happening there. Go to the police, do this. But for me, it was a little bit too much. Also, because it's like they're telling you, I don't know, your son or your dad is a sexual abuser. I mean, you're, whoa, what should I do?
Wow.
And then and the other one, the brahmachari from Switzerland, he was like, no, calm down, don't worry, we can talk about, I will talk to him. They were just saying, he's just
So you had two extremes.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, totally extreme.
Wow.
And I went to this temple in Radhakund, and I stayed there maybe a couple of days or 3 days, but then I was like going in a kind of very strong mentally and physically cries, like I couldn't eat, and I was just crying all day, all night. I couldn't sleep. I was trying to contact someone to help me, to tell me what can I do. And then my friend from Bulgaria, she said, just come here. And I bought the ticket and I flew the same day, and I didn't say to anyone where I was. And fun facts, when I went down in Bulgaria, I checked on Google Maps where Bulgaria was actually, because I wasn't sure about it. And then I kind of hid in her house for a couple of months, and I can say I was in a very, very deep depression, because I was awake maybe 4 to 5 hours a day. The rest of the day I was just sleeping and asking myself what the heck is happening. and why and how. And after a month and a half or two, my friend, she's also devotee, and she say, okay, now you have to start going out. I was like, I feel so good here, I want to stay here. She said, no, they're doing some kirtan evening, and you should come with me. So I start showing up a little bit, but not saying, because the devotees there in Bulgaria, they were not his disciple, but still I met them in India in that temple, so they were somehow connected. But everyone, because I contact also his own guru, that later on turned out to be, in Italy you say, made of the same dough. I don't know if it makes sense.
Made of the same dough. Yeah.
And everyone was just telling me, you have to shut up. You don't have to say this to anyone. You will just disturb their faith and this and that. And I will just disturb their faith. I believe that. I don't want anyone to go through what I went through. But maybe there is a way in between. How can I just not say anything to anyone?
Yeah.
And also, at the beginning, he was like saying, he said to some Indians that afterward, I had some friends there, and they told me what he was saying. And he said that I had some mental sickness that only Western doctors can heal. So I went away from India for that. Then, because I showed up in Bulgaria, where devotees that know him, so he had to change the version. So after that, he starts saying that I was in love with his son, and I wanted to marry him, who at that time was over 50, and who definitely I would never marry in India, with no offense to any Indians. Maybe, I'm very happy with my Swedish one. and other crazy things. And also it was like all my friends, my very good friends, just from one day to another, they just turned their back. And I had so many really offended emails, and I was just like thinking that this is not happening for real. This, maybe one day I will wake up, or it was very hard. But eventually I get to hear from Guru Maharaj. So I slowly woke up from my place.
Have you been able to kind of make peace with that whole situation, and maybe even see how it had some place in helping you with your spiritual journey in a positive way? Have you gotten into that?
I mean, for sure there are many positive things, because that's the way how I enter into Krishna consciousness. And like I had so much kind of course, drive by my ego, but so much faith in my previous guru that that really show me many things. And also, like, I definitely don't have a naive approach to bhakti anymore, which sometimes I see very much in people. Oh, nice, here, this, Krishna, oh, cute. I don't have that anymore, and I'm so happy about it. And also, I can relate and see and learn the things that Guru Maharaj, for example, is preaching in a different way that I would have done it before. I was totally in another level of consciousness and everything, and as all the sufferings in life, like I try to take the teaching and to understand why and how to take the good out of it.
Very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of coming into Krishna consciousness. And it was more sentimental, it sounded like.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
It was
not so
totally
much
sentimental.
philosophy, just love. And I wonder if you actually, because I know Pujapad Sridhar Maharaj, he said that we can make spiritual advancement even if we just have faith in a piece of straw. So I found that very interesting, but it seems like if our heart is in the right place and our intention is right, that we do make advancement even in a situation where the guru may not be qualified. So I wonder what your experience of that was in terms of your own, evolving spiritually in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I did some advancement in spiritual life. Maybe I just entered now finally to something which before it was just some, I don't know. But
that's a big step to enter.
yeah but as I said, I totally see like a different way to approach, but also life. I'm way more grounded. And also, like, I ask myself like so many times how that's possible, that is happening in Vrindavan, in a temple, and to so many nice people, because he's still preaching, he still has disciples, and there are very nice people following him. And I was just wondering, do they deserve that or this or that? But now I just see it as like I see what it has done to me. And like what's like when I was in India, an astrologer, he told me, he started reading. I say, okay, I want to know only positive things. If you have something negative, I don't want to listen. And I was not paying for him. And he say, yeah, well, you will marry one of your best friends when you will be over 30. And I was never against marriage, but I was definitely didn't want to marry anyone. And I was like, I'm not gonna marry anyone. And then he said, yeah, and you will go away from India and probably spend a lot of time in the north of Europe. I said, north of Europe? It's so cold. I have no desire to know. I'm gonna stay here for the rest of my life. And then he says something else. What was? I don't remember. He said it something about the job. And then I was just like, these are just nonsense. Like, I'm not interested to go on in the reading. So I say, but thank you very much. Very nice,
He's really accurate though.
Yeah. Everything what he said like 5 sentences and all were boom, 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 like just there.
Yeah.
And of course, when it happened that I left India, I didn't think about it. But afterwards, I thought like, oh, he actually said everything. Like, so it was meant to be. It was in my karma. And I'm still influenced by my karma, because astrology is your karma, what you come in this world with. So I just thought I had to go through that in order to be here now. And that is just okay. That is wonderful. I mean, I wouldn't be myself now following Guru Maharaj in this beautiful sanga without that experience before. So definitely there was a good behind that.
Wow, that's wonderful. And yeah, developing now a much more, it's like letting your intellect come online and the discrimination and all of the things that the more Madhyam conception of bhakti coming online. So
Yeah. And one thing I have to say, when I was very, very down, like that was almost 1 year, like what kind of kept my faith and my kind of belief in bhakti, because for 1 second I thought like maybe even this bhakti thing is just all nonsense. But then I had my Radha Krishna deities, and I thought about it while going. I remember the moment I was in Radhakund, like going out from my room, and then I looked back at them, and then I thought, no, you are real, like. And I was doing at that time, now they are in Madhavan, and I will go and take it back soon. But I was doing like shringar and changing clothes and deity service every day. That I never stopped doing it until I start working. Then I was doing every week. But that really, really, really like helped me, like being there and understand, like, and feel them, because they're not installed, but they are real. And there is definitely a relationship between me and them. And yeah, I think thanks to them also I'm here now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you had said that in the beginning when you first were in that first temple that you were doing a lot of chanting. Is that in japa, like kind of chanting, or kirtan, or both, or
both? Yeah, so I was waking up very early in the morning, chanting about 3 hours or 2 early morning, and other 2 hours in the afternoon. There we had program at 6 p.m. So I was chanting between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m.
So how is the holy name? How I should ask you, do you feel like the holy name has been one of the things, like the deities, that you felt the real? Have you had that experience too with the holy name, that it's real?
I think yes. Like definitely it's super powerful, but Vrindavan itself is just super powerful.
Yeah.
Like if someone experienced that, it just like the energy there. I think something, I desire something, and boom, I have it in front of my face, like everything, and even nonsense. Like one day I was super stressed out, and then I went to my room, and I thought, now I will just lock my door and not open to anyone, and just eat my chips. I love chips, by the way. Eat my chips and rest for 2 hours. Then I open my counter or wherever I was keeping the chips, and there were no chips. Then I thought, no. And then I hear, like after a few seconds, I hear knocking the door. I was like, okay, let's go. I'm going there. I opened the door, and there was a devotee with 12 packages of chips. And he say, oh, I noticed that you were doing so much service today, so I bought you some chips because I know you love chips. I was like, thank you, Krishna.
Krishna's amazing like that.
Yeah.
I had an artichoke experience when I was a new devotee. I loved artichokes before I was a devotee, and I thought after I moved into the temple, I'll never have another artichoke, and I'll never see another one. And that day, one of the devotees had been out doing the boga shopping, and someone had donated like 10 cases of artichoke. Yeah, that was like, okay, Krishna's even fulfilling my artichoke desire. So yeah. Well, I'm sure I'll have a lot of, I'll make it. I'm going to make it in bhakti.
Yes, exactly.
Like he's really there.
Yeah, he is. And in Vrindavan, this is just happening like so fast and all the time. It's just amazing. And of course, the chanting also there is super, super powerful. But my consciousness at that time in chanting was totally different. So I think I've done so many offenses that maybe I don't, even more than what I think, you know. And like I was always like, I have to chant at least this amount of rounds. I was chanting super fast and but it's not so much about, it's more about the quality than the quantity. Like, so now I'm chanting very, 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 very little. So I should definitely rise up the quantity, but of course the quality is different. Yeah.
Yeah. So we still have a lot of your story to tell. Let's see, maybe you could talk a little bit about, you'd spent quite a bit of time in Madhuban, and at some point you had met or connected with your husband. Maybe you could talk a little bit about both of those things.
Yeah, so everything started with Guru Maharaj, of course. And at that time I was living with a wonderful devotee family in Bulgaria, not my friends, another couple with 3 beautiful kids. And they have 2 floors house, and I was staying on the last one, that is almost the 3rd. But we were sharing, of course, the kitchen and the living room. And at the beginning, I was having my deities in their altar too. So I went down one evening to put my deities to sleep. And I put them to sleep. And then I was walking again up again. And in the kitchen, there was a phone with Guru Maharaj class going on, but there was no one there. And I heard his voice and I thought, wow, such a beautiful voice. Who is speaking? Then I thought, oh, it's a katha. That's wonderful. And then I read the title and it was something about Svarupa. And I thought, that sounds interesting, because at that time I didn't even want to hear from any guru. I was just fine with my deity service and staying around devotees. But his voice was very, very attractive. I mean, his voice, you hear it, it's very beautiful. So I sat there, and the owner of the phone didn't show up. I just listened to all the class. And then I took some notes who this person was. And then the day after, I asked him, who did you left the phone there yesterday? He said, yeah. And there was a class playing. Who was this sannyas giving class? He said, oh, it's Mami Tripurari. He lives in California. Manjari, his wife, she has some books of him. She had the Bhagavad Gita and Gopal Tapani, and maybe something else. If you want to read, we can lend it to you, no problem. And I say, yeah, sure. So I got some books, and and then I start listening to some audios, and then an acquaintance, she told me, oh, do you know Tripurari? Because I was talking about what I heard from him in the classes. And she said, oh, I've been in Audarya. I actually know someone from there, and it's Shamananda. And she said, I can give you a contact. He's super nice and da. So she gave me a contact. No, I think, I still didn't have social media at that time. So I don't remember how it really went, but after some months, I decided to open an online shop with Indian stuff. So in order to make it work, I also opened a social media, and I added Guru Maharaj and Shamananda. So after that, Shamananda and I, we start corresponding, and we become very, very good friends, and we were all the time in contact. And then he, for visa purposes, he left Audarya. He went to Sweden, then he went to Madhvan. And when he went from Sweden to Madhvan, he lost his fly, so he bought a new one. But the way back, he only had the way back to Frankfurt, not to Sweden anymore.
Mm.
And Frankfurt is almost halfway to Bulgaria. So he was telling me that, and he say, and I think he told me something like, I don't know what to do in Frankfurt because I don't have a fly back to Sweden. They say, why don't you fly here? It was half joke, but he came there. So in 2 days, he came in Bulgaria. And then, we fall in love and we married.
So it seems like, yeah, you went through a lot of messiness, and then well, you met your real guru, and you met your husband, and the devotees and the sanga, and your life is, and it's interesting that you were able to connect with Guru Maharaj's books after the first experience. Probably, like you said, it wasn't very philosophically informed. So
not at all.
To go from a sangha with zero of that, kind of tattva, and then to be able to enter into Guru Maharaj's books, that's impressive to me.
Yeah, and I couldn't understand anything like until I met Shamananda because he really knows Guru Maharaj and his teachings, and he always finds a way. And also in the daily talk, if I say something, he might just quoting Guru Maharaj, or Guru Maharaj would say this, or Guru Maharaj this. So it was very, like, I was, as say, very much low, like I didn't know anything about philosophy, and even the understanding of bhakti was totally, I can't say wrong, but different from Gaudiya perspective. So he really helped me a lot to understand how the Guru Maharaj teachings are.
Yeah, what a beautiful arrangement. Better than the chips, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and also during all this messiness, like I felt very much accompanied. Like I had a place to stay in Bulgaria before with one beautiful family devotee, then with another one. And then when I had time and money and I found a job, then I found my own flat. But I was not in a hurry. There was always someone helping me, taking care of me, and there were always devotees. So definitely there was some mystical push.
Yeah. So interesting. One question that came to mind at the very beginning that maybe I would like to ask is just the fearlessness that you had to go traveling on your own as a young woman in a world today that's pretty, it was different in my day. I think it was easier and maybe not quite as unsafe. So where did that come from? Is that just, do you still have that fearlessness? It's impressive.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it fearlessness. Maybe just like naiveness.
Mm.
Or I started traveling since I was 5 practically. And for me, really, like, traveling is not a big deal. Like, also when I left from Italy one way to London, and many friends were like, "Oh, you're such a good example. You're so good." We're just like, just buy a ticket and jump on the flight. You know, it's not a big deal. But afterwards, like at that time, I was very much, I can't say arrogant, but somewhat arrogant. Like, just do that if you want to do, or this or that. But now I can understand, you know, there's a lot of attachment, and some people can't even change their birth country or home because they have the family or friends. But I never had that since my childhood. I never felt really home in any place, honestly. Maybe in Vrindavan, but then that happened. So, and I see very much that it's very much like emotional, and emotions are good, of course, but most of the time are dictated from our ego, from our needs, from our karma. And it's important, I think, to see that.
Yeah.
Like, and it's also normal to change your mind, like, on the time. There's not that. I think that what I was thinking when I was 20 is still the things that I'm thinking now. You evolve and change and everything, but I honestly don't feel attached to places or countries. So I think it's more that than fearlessness. Like, and also I'm sometimes, now a little less, but sometimes I'm too impulsive. This is from the Italian side. So, you know, like, oh, India, wonderful, people are great, like, just bye, I'm going. You know, I found the light in life, the meaning, everything, and you can't understand that, so I'm gonna go to India. So yeah.
So the follow-up question to that, which is kind of the culmination of everything you've been through at this point in your life, is what gifts, or how do you see that you have changed and the gifts that you've received?
Yeah, the gifts are like my husband, my Gurudev, all of you. These are just everyday gifts, and I'm just swimming inside. It's so beautiful. And what I learned many things, but one I can think of, maybe that it's wrong to not follow your value. Like, you know, my previous guru, he was doing like almost criminal things, you know, things that I was telling myself, oh, he's my Gurudev, he can do that. Or he was asking me to do something that was not so nice. And then I was doing it because it was service. He told me to do that, I'm gonna do that. Then it became saintly or whatever. And that, I don't think it's correct. Because if you have some value, doesn't matter who's telling you what. I mean, we are all humans here, and of course Krishna is inside of everyone and everything, but we're here for a reason, to just develop in our consciousness. So to really not like trust your value. And of course during the years the value can change because you change, but if I don't know, if Guru Maharaj tells me now you have to break up with Shamananda and go with these other devotees, I'm not gonna do that, even if it's Guru Maharaj telling me. Because one thing is to find a compromise,
Right.
but to compromise your value, it's different, because a compromise can be something that is anyway okay. Like, I don't like to wash dishes, and my husband also. That's not true. It's just an example. He almost always washes the dishes, but like, for example, we both don't like. So we get a compromise. 3 days I wash and 3 days he wash, and then we turn, and that's a compromise, and then it's okay, because I don't break my values. But if someone is compromising with my values, then I won't do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a really good point, is that I think, anything that does go against values of, that are grounded in goodness and morality and ethics,
Yes.
that if someone in a leadership position is asking us to transgress those values, then yeah, that's when, Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So
Exactly.
we go and we see, does this match what the scriptures say, and does this match what, and find other, sadhus to talk about. And you did do that in your journey. It sounds like you reached out at that when you finally, heard that the transgression was much greater than you even thought.
Yeah.
You reached out to other people
And then,
that you trusted.
yeah, and I know sometimes it's very hard to realize that, because our mind is just our mind is made to be corrupted, because there is this safety programmed in our brain from our childhood and our ancestors. And like, if I tell you, can you lie to this person, just a small lie, you might think about and say, maybe not. But what if I tell you, I'm gonna give you $500 million? Only thing you have to do, just a small little lie to that person that you even don't know. Then you really start thinking, what can I do with this 500 million? Maybe I can give 1 million to Guru Maharaj, so I'm safe. And 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 these things are happening, like, without really us being able to see them during the day. So I think it's very important to analyze, to make some self work, and try to go to your day and think, was I nice today, or did I do this correctly? Maybe ask some seniors some help, because also when you have difficult decisions, sometimes you just can't figure it out by yourself. And
Nice. Very beautiful.
Mm.
So just looking at the time, I would like to give the devotees a chance to ask any questions they might have. So let's see if we have any questions, if that's okay. Sakhya-rati,
Yes, sure. If I can help. Sure about it.
So unmute yourself if you have a question, or if it's on the Spanish side, then Martin can maybe translate for you. A couple of things in the chat. I didn't even check that. Any questions? Okay.
Haribol, Martin.
Hare Krishna. Wow, thank you so much for like telling your story and your amazing journey. I
Oh,
was always like listening. I was first on
Indra,
Facebook.
I think you
Yes.
should put English and unmute the
Oh,
original
sorry.
audio. We can't hear you.
But Martin, I think Martin has a question he
Yeah.
wanted to ask himself. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Martin. Thank you. Can you hear me now better?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you so much for like telling your journey, and I'm so excited for how it continues to. Yeah. So my question would be like two little questions. Are you still in touch with your friend who sent you to Vrindavan? And can you tell us maybe a bit more about like your business that you're doing in the present?
Yes. What did you say before my business?
If you're still in touch with a friend who sent you to Vrindavan.
No.
Because he was like the first devotee. Oh no.
Yeah. No, but we have a kind of family relationship because I brought my brother, my youngest brother, to Vrindavan, and I really loved his youngest sister of the first devotee who sent me to Vrindavan. And I just told them, both my brother and the sister, I thought, you would be such a wonderful couple. You have to meet and da 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 da. And then they met, and now they are married and they have two wonderful kids. So now I'm somehow related with him, but I met him one time for sure, maybe two times after that, and it was nice, but we didn't talk about what happened. We just been polite, and we both were happy that each other are fine, and that's it. Yeah. And the second question was my business, like with the yoga. Yeah, so I did 1 year training with Buddhi yoga. So Govinda Dasi was my teacher, and Martin, who is translating now, he was also a student there. So we took the diploma at the same time. And it was very beautiful because, of course, it was made from devotees. So there was a totally different approach to yoga and its philosophy. So it started because when I was in Madhuvan, we were thinking how to make some income in Madhuvan that they can't just rely on donations, and that the donation would be just a plus, because as the situation now is a little bit tight every month. So we just thought, oh, we can make a yoga center, make retreats and this and that. So I thought, okay, I know yoga. I've been teaching yoga without certificate, but I've been doing that, so I can do that. Then Govinda Dasi, she came to Madhuvan, and then I asked if I can do something with her, and with Guru Maharaj blessings, then I started the course. So now I'm teaching yoga, but in a little bit different way. Like I'm now specializing more in yoga for women, following their own menstrual cycle, because we have all the seasons inside. So following the Vedic principles of Vata, Pitta, Kapha, how to do yoga during your inner seasons. And yeah, that I'm planning to sell some courses there now in the autumn.
Awesome. And for everybody who hasn't watched it, it's really an amazing video. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And sign up to her
Thank
newsletter too.
Thank you,
I saw
Indra.
you.
Hare Krishna. Of course.
So Martin,
Yeah. Thank you, Annapurna. Yeah. The second question, yes, but not the first one. Ah. Yeah, well, it starts being a little weird when I told you before, he gave me some very crazy kind of service. Like I had to go to New Delhi to one of his son and open a business. And the son was just sitting in bed, smoking cigarettes, playing poker on the phone and things like that. So I started kind of questioning what was really happening. And there's something little starts breaking up. And then the moment that my friend just opened up with me, that was like, I think, the moment when I say, okay, I can't do this anymore. And if he tried to take me back or something like that, she asked. Well, at the beginning, when I was kind of confused, for one day I was still there, and he was wondering what was happening. And when I left, he tried to call me, of course, but then when someone, this brahmachari from Sweden, I guess, or someone told him what I said, why I left, then he just starts saying to everyone, just, she's crazy, close your contacts with her and this and that. So there was not much connection after that.
Thank you. So Martin, did you have your own question?
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice because, yeah. Okay, so that's nice you ask, because I always wanted to do things little differently. So I actually started from Santiago de Compostela, and the main path is not ending in Santiago de Compostela, but everyone goes to Santiago de Compostela. It's ending in Murcia, which is a country on the ocean. So I went from Santiago to point 0 because there are some stones during the path where that are saying how many kilometers are missing to the end point that is in the ocean. So I went there. From there we walk a little bit more up to Fisterra, this another town or city, I don't know. And then we went back to Santiago. Thank you.
So Martin, before you disappear, how was your experience with the translation? Were we speaking too fast or?
Nice.
Great, great. Well, thank you so
Bye.
much for pitch hitting. Is that what they call it? Pitch hitting?
Oh, Shamananda has a question, he said.
Okay, Shamananda.
Can I just ask here?
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, because I remember you telling me that when you came to India, you prayed to the deities to show you to take you as soon as possible to the goal, like the fastest route to the goal.
Yeah, something like that. The last time I went to India, that was not the last time, but the last time in that temple, I was like, that was like my move forever. Like, I'm not gonna leave this place anymore. Like, I'm gonna stay to Vrindavan for the rest of this life. And the first thing, I went to the temple to Radha and Krishna, and I told Radha, I said, please, whatever way is the fastest to you, I'm ready to take that. And I'm gonna go through whatever you want, but I want to reach your feet. And then that's happened. So I'm not gonna say that anymore to any deity in the world. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, very sincere devotee, and
full of ego. Yeah.
that's all of us. That's the part why we have all the messiness. Krishna's helping us to transform that exploiting ego, as Guru Maharaj says, into a serving ego, and so that we can actually see all of our challenges in in that through that lens, and it's very helpful. But it was really beautiful. I appreciate so much hearing your story. Getting to know the devotees like this is just so nice. It's like, because we see each other on calls and little bits of conversation and exchange, but to really hear your whole story. Well, I mean, it's not your whole story, but
in part.
It's very meaningful to me. So I really appreciate so much, and I'm sure all the devotees on here, and it seems like we've been getting a lot of views on the YouTube channel and on the Sri Chaitanya Sanga also. So there'll be over 100 devotees probably in the next few days watching this interview. So you're gonna, and it'll be out there for forever and immortalized forever. So thank you so much. And I guess our time is pretty much up, unless there's one burning question still out there. And if not, we'll close on next week. We have Shama Sundar he'll be the sage that will be interviewing, and so that'll be nice. Another Italian, some Italian, and then from Madhuvan also, and I'm looking forward to hearing his story, because all the devotees will hopefully be able to. Some devotees have been too shy to participate, but a lot of you we're going to be able to tap into your world also very soon.
And you too soon, hopefully.
Yeah, I think Manan Gopal had asked if he could do it, do an interview with me, and I think we're thinking about maybe the last week of July. So
good.
Yeah, so I'll be able to share my story too. So, well, thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna. We'll see everybody soon on one of the calls, and the participation is wonderful. Seeing all your smiling faces is very encouraging. So, Indra's got the biggest smile back there. I just love it. Okay, Hare Krishna, my dear devotees.
Krishna.
Hari Bol.